All right, good morning, everyone. Please stand for the national anthem of Barbados. Please remain standing for the prayer from Reverend Samuel Mosley.
Let's bow our heads. Our Father and our God, we thank you for this day. We thank you for having kept us through the past year. Thank you for the last year, God, where the focus of this great body was on designing and building for sustainable digital transformation. And God, you've brought us to this year, another conference where our focus is on the integration of technology for building and construction. And God, we know that you have kept us through this past year. You have indeed been with each one of us. Father, we thank you for keeping our infrastructure intact. We've suffered minimal damage in the last year. And God, even as we gather for this 2025 annual conference, God, we thank you for the great minds that are gathered in this conference room. God, the creative inspiration that you have deposited in each and every individual present here. You are the original creator. And God, we thank you for having been with us as a body, as architects and as designers and as service providers in this most important industry, God. We thank you for the partnerships that have developed over the years out of these conferences. And God, even now we declare that there will be new partnerships. Father, private sector working together with government, public-private sector partnerships, God. Service providers providing quality products and services that will redound to the advancement of our nation, that will indeed see our GDP grow and develop to a point where jobs, quality jobs, will be provided for many of our people. God, we thank you for the resilience that we seek to build into our infrastructure, the state-of-the-art materials that will be presented during this conference, God. We thank you for everything that will transpire, God, and we know that at the end of it all, your name will be honored, you will be glorified, and you will be praised. And so, God, even as we begin this 2025 conference, we thank you for your presence here, and we declare, God, that you will be with us throughout the next 3 days, and that your deposits of wisdom and knowledge and understanding will be evident at the end of this season, and that our nation will prosper, our economy will grow, and our people will know that you are the one who have guided and directed us. And so we thank you for this morning. We thank you for every presenter. God, as the networks are built, as the tours are conducted, as the presentations are made, may they all bring honor and glory to your matchless name. And all God's people say, amen. Amen.
Thank you, Reverend Mosley. Please be seated, everyone. Minister in the Ministry of Training and Tertiary Education, the Honorable Mrs. Sandra Husbands. Minister in the Ministry of Labor in the Third Sector, the Honorable Colin Jordan. Minister in the Ministry of Housing and Lands and Maintenance, the Honorable Christopher Gibbs. Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Training and Tertiary Education, Mr. Patrick McCaskey. Deputy Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Educational Transformation, Ms. Deborah Dorridge. Chairman, TVET Council Barbados, Dr. Albert Best. Executive Director, TVET Council Barbados, Mr. Henderson Eastman. Architectural Account Executive and Specification Consultant in the Caribbean area, the Sherwin-Williams Company, Mr. Omar Mohammed. Executive Chairman, the Maloney Group, Mr. Mark Maloney. Sales and Marketing Manager, BRC West Indies Limited, Mr. Nasir Harper. Administrative Assistant, the General Manager, Rent-A-Kill Initial Barbados Limited, Mr. Mark Miller. Government and Hotel Channel Sales Manager, Berger Paints Barbados Limited, Ms. Karen Grant. Other partners and sponsors of the Barbados Annual Construction and Design Conference. Council members, management and staff of the TVET Council, members of the media and the BGIS, specially invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. My name is Dario Walcott, and I, at this stage, will be your Master of Ceremonies, and I want to welcome you to the 4th Barbados Annual Construction and Design Conference, and for the first time, Dinner and Awards. Firstly, on our program this morning, I wish to welcome for our opening and welcome remarks the Honorable Ms. Sandra Husbands, Minister of Training and Tertiary Education.
Thank you so much, Master of Ceremonies, and good morning to all. The protocol being established, it was quite long, but I do want to, in particular, welcome our Minister of Labor and Third Sector, and a very, very special welcome to our newest minister, the Honorable Christopher G.L. Gibbs. Glad to have you at this wonderful meeting here. I think this is great. Please welcome him. Permanent Secretary for the Ministry of Training and Tertiary Education, Mr. Patrick McCaskey. DPS of the Ministry, Ms. Deborah Dorridge. And the Chairman of TVET Council, and the Executive Director, who is a very, very busy man, Mr. Henderson Eastman. We want to sincerely thank him for the tremendous work that TVET does. And this is a wonderful example of that. It really is a privilege to be here for the opening of the Barbados Annual Construction and Design Conference 2025. This year, we're going to be focused on the transformative theme, integrating technology into quality construction. And I cannot express how important this is. Our world has changed, and everything in it is being changed by technology, being changed by innovations. And if, as a country, we want to keep up, if we want to sustain our current development and continue to prosper in this new environment, then we too must change. And construction is one of those areas in which we must embrace the new technologies and ensure that all of our current practitioners in the industry have the opportunity to be trained, to be exposed, and to be able to transition onto these new methods. This is how we're going to keep Barbados intact and whole, relevant, and prosperous. So I want to express congratulations to the Technical and Vocational Education and Training Council, TVET, for its exemplary leadership throughout the years in launching this conference with a fresh and insightful theme each year, and for its ongoing management of the Barbados Construction Gateway Training Initiative. This annual event represents strategic investments in our national growth and the future of our workforce. As a government, as a ministry, our mandate is clear. That is to ensure that Barbados has a skilled, resilient, and future-ready workforce. And our ministry is deeply committed to this because the capacity of our families to continue to earn, to be able to earn in good-paying jobs, means that we have to be able to embrace more and more persons into the opportunities within the construction industry where they can earn decent wages that can allow them to take care of their needs and indeed to fulfill their dreams. The BACDC supports the continuing professional development of industry professionals, while the BCGTI opens doors for new entrants into the construction industry. Together, they form a powerful engine for growth. Sorry, this is sliding a bit, I don't know why. I'm therefore very proud to support this initiative, which aligns with our national goals of building a modern workforce for the 21st century Barbados. So this week's program is rich with opportunity. The activities outlined in the conference schedule, together with the various presentations, workshops, tours, and networking, represent an exciting opportunity for construction, design professionals and practitioners to further their knowledge and undertake the necessary continuing professional development. The BACDC promotes ongoing professional development for the industry professionals, whereas the BCGTI, what we do there is to ensure that we include currently underserved youth who have not had the opportunity to acquire a skill, to ensure that they do and that they get a foothold on the ladder. Barbados is in the midst of a $6 billion construction boom spanning commercial, residential, tourism, and infrastructure projects. As highlighted in the 2024 Barbados Economic and Social Report, the sector experienced growth from 463.3 million Barbados dollars in 2023 to 496 million in 2024, indicating a very robust upward trajectory. But with opportunity comes responsibility. We must ensure that our workforce is equipped to meet the demands of this evolving industry. Globally, the construction industry is being reshaped by building information modeling, 3D printing, and modular construction, smart materials, and sensors. AI-driven project management, and sustainable building practices. These are no longer visions of the future, but have become the norm. And it is therefore essential for us to be strategic in our approach to training, deploying, and retaining skilled labor. As part of learning from global best practices of the world, we recognize that other island nations are showing the way. Fiji and Samoa, they have embraced regional labor mobility, allowing workers to gain international experience and return with enhanced skills. Kiribati and Tonga have reformed their TVET systems to align with industry needs and embedded digital literacy. Barbados is also thriving along this path, as the TVET Council's Lifelong Learning Unit now offers free digital literacy courses, ensuring that no one is left behind. Indeed, our National Transformation Initiative Coursera programs offers a wide range of courses, and many of them include digital learning for many different specialties. So I want to encourage all of you to please check this. Our approach includes demand-driven TVET systems guided by real-time labor market data, sector skills bodies shaping curriculum and certification, work-based learning and apprenticeships through industry partnerships, integration of digital and green skills at all levels, and recognition of prior learning through the PLAR program. And I want to encourage all of you, if you have employees who've worked with you for years and who demonstrate a high level of skill, now is the time to ensure that they get that prior learning assessment recognition so that their work can be certified and they can present it anywhere in the world to be able to get a job. This is an important gift that we need to give to them, and I'm expecting our employers to make this a priority for them. These initiatives being pursued by the TVET Council are certifiable pathways to the empowerment of Barbadians. And I therefore exhort the young people present here today, whether you are trained in carpentry, masonry, electrical installation, or plumbing, your foundation can now support careers in smart building systems, green construction, digital modeling, and project management. These are not just jobs. These are careers with global relevance, competitive salaries, and entrepreneurial potential. The Ministry of Training and Tertiary Education is committed to making these pathways accessible and attractive. We are investing in expanded TVET offerings in construction technology and engineering, strengthened industry partnerships, digital infrastructure for blended learning, instructor training in emerging technologies, and that is very important, and inclusive policies for women and youth facing socioeconomic barriers. So let us remember, technology does not build infrastructure, people do. Skilled, empowered, and forward-thinking professionals are the true foundation of quality construction. This conference encourages us to learn from global best practices, celebrate our local achievements, strengthen our training systems, and prepare our workforce for the future. So together, we can ensure that Barbados not only builds, but builds better, builds smarter, and builds sustainably. I want to thank everyone for the tremendous work that has been done here. I want to wish you all a very, very successful experience. And what I want to see more than ever is that coming out of this, that there are new initiatives that we want to pursue together that can help us to take construction forward as the sector that is going to help Barbados to build our economic growth. I want to thank you for your time. And let me apologize for the fact that I have to leave at this moment. Today is fairly hectic. I have to be at State House by 11, and I also have to be at another launch later today at 11:30. I'm not quite sure how we're going to get all that done, but we are going to make sure that it happens. But I'm going to leave you in the very capable hands of my colleagues and with the wonderful team here at TVET Council. May God bless you all.
Wish special thank you to Minister Husbands for those encouraging words. Thank you to you and your ministry for continuing to support us in all of our activities. I take the time now to welcome, as Minister Husband said, our newest minister, Minister of Housing, Maintenance and Lands, the Honorable Mr. Christopher Gibbs. Thank you. Please, to give us the sectoral remarks.
Good morning, everyone. Now, my speech starts off with recognizing everyone, but as the Honorable Minister just mentioned, it's a very, very long list. So I will start with all protocols having been established. Good morning. Thank you for having me here. Thank you, Master of Ceremonies. It is both a privilege and an honor to stand here before you today, as the minister before me said, the newest kid on the block. But you know, God works in mysterious ways. As I was telling Dr. Best just now, when he asked me, well, how'd you get here? Well, when I was 18 years old and I traveled to the US to pursue a degree in civil engineering, when I got there, and Adrian, you'll find this funny, I switched to electrical engineering. So God works in mysterious ways and finds me here addressing you at this construction conference as the Minister of Housing. I promise you that I am a fast learner. Housing is very, very important to this nation right now. There's a huge link between affordable housing and crime. There are studies that show that this link is very deep. And it's not remiss of me that housing plays an integral and an important role in giving solutions to this nation that emphasize affordability, sustainability, and I would add, dignified. So when I tour a potential housing development, what do I look for? I look for those accents in the housing infrastructure that emphasize living that you can stretch your legs. As an urban MP for the last 4 years, I can tell you that urban sprawl and the density of our urban areas have led to a level of frustration by our young people. And that frustration has led to conflict. And unfortunately, because of the lack of conflict resolution, we find ourselves in a situation where crime is on the rise. But we can do something. We can build housing that is attractive, affordable, especially using techniques that the Honorable Minister just mentioned. Barbados has had a history of being on the forefront of emerging technology. Think about the days when we had Intel. Intel at that time in the 80s, and my uncle was an engineer and he worked there, so I'm very familiar with it. was designing chips at that time that would become the forefront of technology, in global technology, in every device that we now possess. Unfortunately, as the Prime Minister said, one of our greatest blunders was to allow Intel to leave our shores. We have solar water heaters, and the pioneer being Solar Dynamics. We all know that this technology has spread throughout our shores and has allowed Barbadians to save on energy costs. I can remember seeing an article which had rated Barbados as one of the key players in solar. And hence, we have gone from solar water heaters to solar PV to electric cars. And I want to applaud this government in lowering the duties on the importation of electric cars, seeking to become 100% renewable, sustainable renewable by 2030, I believe. So we have always been on the forefront. So we can harness the spirit of implementing technologies that it was in our heart, is in our DNA. And the Honorable Minister mentioned our resilience. This resilience which was handed down from our forefathers, we have an opportunity now to build structures that are resilient, structures that implement technologies like light frame steel. These structures can allow us to employ more of an industrial approach to building. Now, what I want to talk about now is the role of housing and the transformation that housing has to undertake to be able to meet these challenges that we face today. So the policy of the cabinet and this government, and by extension the Ministry of Housing, is that NHC will now be focusing on maintenance. You know, as people, we have to sometimes look in the rearview mirror to see where we have gone, what's behind us, in order to see what's ahead. So we haven't had the greatest, as a government, the greatest track record of maintaining our properties. But I feel as though NHC before was bogged down with both building, maintaining, and all these other responsibilities. So why not segment the function of the different aspects of the ministry so that we can be more effective? So NHC will now be more responsible for maintaining properties. And as we look to more implementing an industrial approach to building, the planning aspect of NHC can come to bear. So planning and design is where we can really work with industry providers to be able to implement more innovative building strategies. But we can't forget the small man. And I could tell you in the maintenance, where we can have more of an artisanal approach to building. So the small contractors, the painters, the masons, the plumbers, we can engage in contracts with these individuals in order to maintain the government buildings, the estates, and we also have to deal with the derelict properties. I had a meeting yesterday, and I could tell you that as the new kid on the block, the new minister, I have to do a lot of listening. And it's important to listen to the stakeholders in order to understand where the challenges lie, and then craft the solutions for how we go forward. And I can tell you, I was an engineer consultant in the US working in the cellular industry for 8 years before I came home. And in the US, there's a culture of allowing young people who have creativity. And the minister spoke about this a lot just now. We need to allow our young people to be creative. So if you see somebody who is forward-thinking, who is innovative, who is young, give them a chance. Because by the time we get to 40, our creative juices don't really flow like they used to. If you look at the technology sector, look at all the companies that have flourished. Look at Google. Look at Yahoo. These companies were started by individuals who were in the 20s, not the 30s and 40s. And I find that, unfortunately, the culture that we have in this country is that we tend to, don't get me wrong, experience is important, but we need to embrace the creativity of our youth, bring them to the table, allow them to flourish. And we have to be cognizant of the fact that these new building solutions are there to help our youth get a piece of the rock. We need to start there, because that is where a lot of our problems lay. And as such, the ministry is going to embrace these technologies. As I said before, got a little off track just now, where these technologies will be able to design houses that allow our young people with young families, especially from the urban areas, who need to stretch their legs, to enjoy a porch, maybe a porch that wraps around the front, where the fresh air could come in, where you could look at the countryside. And to me, that is a vision of Barbados going forward. I was thankful to be able to tour a new housing area that is going to be in Louders with the Prime Minister. And these are a lot of the things that we spoke to the developer about. You can make money. You can make money by designing affordable houses that are attractive to people to want to live in, especially with the new technologies. So I want to applaud TVET, especially in terms of allowing our young people to come and learn innovative strategies in building. I want to recognize the conference and its role that it has to play where we are now today. And I also want to say that Hope is going to be an institution going forward that emphasizes in the ministry partnerships and project management. Before, Hope was bogged down a lot into building, and some inefficiencies were created there. But I think we have a good team now that is able to focus more on project management to be able to deliver solutions to our people. I didn't want to leave that out, because that obviously is a hot button topic, and whenever I go there, everybody wants to talk about hope. But I tell them that I think that we've turned the corner. And I like to look at the glass half full, where we're going to go forward and look for these solutions, partner with people. The minister talked about PPPs and forming partnerships with people and industries that have comparative advantage. The fact of the matter is, government can't do all. We are not the expert at everything. But what we need to do is mine the industry professionals that have the experience to be able to deliver those solutions that we can have affordable housing for people. And you would have heard the Prime Minister talk about the road to 60 next year. And I could tell the public of Barbados, this is going to be very important for our country, especially from the perspective of beautification. So I see that Sherwin-Williams is a big sponsor here. And I would love to be able to speak with you about how we can partner to be able to help beautify the estates on the road to 60. I think that those are the type of partnerships, and I consider it low-hanging fruit, that we can get together and make a difference to Bajans. So the road to 60 will be a way that we can now beautify our country. And I think that it would be remiss of us to ignore that. I want to talk a little bit about the partnerships that we have engaged with with our South American counterparts and Caribbean counterparts, specifically Guyana and the Duravilla houses. The South-South partnership is very key for us to deliver innovative solutions to our citizens. So Duravilla has been very integral in this drive, and a lot of our housing solutions have been based on their designs, which deliver sustainable, strong houses that can withstand hurricane force winds. And I want to mention that we're going to go forward with them to also seek ways that we can implement technologies that also drive the prices down lower. And when they say lower, we're looking at the 150, the 160 to 180 range. This is the range where you would see the gas station attendants. It's a gas station that I go to a lot, and the people always tell me there, Gibbs, you got to try and find ways that we can survive in this country, because things are hard for us. And I think that this sector of society we cannot ignore. So having housing solutions that are catered to these individuals is extremely important. And the ministry is very, very cognizant of this. And we will be targeting solutions that will try to help this group in our society. So, in closing, I want to say that I appeal to you to let us integrate technology not just as an option, but as a necessity to let us ensure that quality remains at the foundation of everything that we construct. Together, we can create a housing sector that not only meets today's needs, but anticipates tomorrow's challenges. Let us move forward with vision, with courage, and with the conviction that housing is not just about construction, it is about building a better life for all Barbadians. And as we look to the future with bright eyes, mindful of our place in history, where others have relinquished their place in establishing a beacon of hope, I think that Barbados can fill that vacuum. I wish you all a successful and highly impactful conference. Thank you, and God bless.
A very pleasant good morning to you as I welcome you to 3 days of excitement, enlightenment, education. The opening ceremony of the Barbados Annual Construction and Design Conference with the theme, Integrating Technology into Quality Construction. I'm Antoine Williams. I'm your Master of Ceremonies for the 3 days. And I want to certainly offer thanks to the one who filled in for me because of some unexpected circumstances which delayed my being here on time. I would certainly want to acknowledge the remarks offered by the Honorable Christopher Gibbs, Minister of Housing, Maintenance and Lands, and I trust that you've taken great note and attention to the remarks he's noted. He has referred to himself as the new kid on the block. But interestingly enough, with such a title, you certainly had quite a lot to say. Thank you very much. I move now to the keynote speaker's presentation. And that will be offered by one who is an architectural AE specification consultant, Caribbean area for the Sherwin-Williams Group. He's a graduate in marketing and microbusiness and has been with the Sherwin-Williams Company for 17 years, managing both store and commercial accounts.
And for 15 years, he implemented successful strategies to attain large commercial projects and also to grow high-volume opportunities. In his current role as architectural account executive for the Caribbean area, he is responsible for the commercial architect, engineer specifier, and commercial designer portfolio in the region. Surely you would agree with me that with such a background, and our featured speaker, our keynote speaker, is ideally suited to address you as we recognize the theme, integrating technology into quality construction. So I invite you to please join with me as I acknowledge Mr. Omar Mohammed.
At Sherwin-Williams, we don't just believe in excellence. We believe in doing things the right way and holding ourselves accountable. This guides our commitment to take care of our customers, respect our employees and the environment, and support the communities in which we live and work. We have fostered a culture built on trust, respect, and belonging that has helped position us as a market leader. This culture also motivates our sustainability initiatives as we strive for continuous improvement on our sustainability journey. Sustainability is rooted in our values and is integral to the way we conduct our business. We embrace an enterprise-wide view of sustainability because it covers our every function, every business, and every region. We've enhanced our sustainability strategy with a strong focus on these three pillars: our environmental footprint, our product blueprint, and our social imprint. These three pillars are supported by a strong foundation of governance and ethics that holds us accountable to doing the right thing for our employees, customers, and other stakeholders. Reducing the environmental footprint of our global operations is essential to becoming more sustainable. We take a continuous improvement approach to reducing our carbon emissions, energy use, and waste, while expanding our renewable energy use and recycling methods. Our product blueprint is constantly evolving. Under our Sustainability by Design program, we are formalizing our approach to integrating sustainability into the earliest stages of our innovation and product development processes. Through life cycle thinking and a strong commitment to product stewardship, we continue to provide world-class products with sustainability attributes in a safe and responsible manner. Being responsible with our social imprint helps us to create a culture in which the safety of our workforce is a top priority and our employees are provided with opportunities to succeed. We strive to grow our culture of belonging where differences are welcomed, celebrated, and appreciated. We care deeply about being active participants in the communities where we live, serve, and work. And we believe that embracing these three pillars is the key to our continued growth and success. We are proud of the progress we have made on our ever-evolving sustainability journey. At Sherwin-Williams, we will never stop working towards a better future, a safer future, and a more sustainable future for our company, our employees, our customers, and the communities we serve.
I am now going to re-establish some protocols. Minister in the Ministry of Housing, Lands and Maintenance, the Honorable Christopher Gibbs, MP. Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Training and Tertiary Education, Mr. Patrick McCaskey. Director, Ministry of Training and Tertiary Education, Dr. Roderick Rodder. Deputy Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Educational Transformation, Ms. Deborah Dowidge. Chairman, TVET Council Barbados, Mr. Henderson Eastman. Sorry, let me back that up a bit. Chairman, TVET Council Barbados, Dr. Albert Best, forgive me, and Executive Director, TVET Council Barbados, Mr. Henderson Eastman. Other partners, sponsors of the Barbados Annual Construction and Design Conference 2025. It is indeed a privilege and a pleasure to address you all this morning. We will start with what got Sherwin-Williams involved from the beginning. And this is the mandate. Before I met with anyone on the TVET Council, this statement moved us to action. We have been mandated to ensure that there's a structured and reliable framework through which Barbados can produce a well-trained and competent workforce to meet the standards and demands of a global economy. Notice I said we. We have been given the mandate to design a structured framework through which this beautiful country can meet the standards of a global economy. Our position is, you need your full commitment, or we need our collective commitment. There is no gray area. There is only black or white. And we are fully committed to supporting this initiative. Today, we will look at our component of this mandate, which is construction and design. And over the next 3 days, this will be our focus. But before we can look at accessing innovative coating technologies for healthy building design, there are some key points that we must look at first if we are to venture into the global sphere of our business. So here's the agenda. We're going to look at the universal drivers for sustainability in buildings. We're going to look at coating technologies and how they support the healthy building movement. And lastly, which is equally as important, we're going to look at material selection and the tools to help you evaluate products and suppliers. Universal drivers. A dramatic shift has taken place in recent years. Let me take this out. I feel a bit confined behind the podium. So, as I was saying, a universal shift has taken place in recent years to a climate positive approach. We are going beyond net zero in terms of emissions to create a benefit for the planet. The architects, designers, and engineers in this room and their colleagues also have counterparts around the globe, and they have been an aggressive driving force for sustainability globally. I am going to state the obvious. Architects, designers, and engineers possess an acute ability to influence the human element. In saying that, you all dictate the way we feel, the way we walk, the way we interact with the built environment. And it is imperative for us to advance globally that you are given the latitude and the support for greater involvement as we strive to build not only Barbados, but the Caribbean as a whole. So we're first going to look at decarbonization and how coal is going to help us reduce emissions. We'll look at waste reduction and how we can utilize clean energy, how we can exercise social sustainability, and also exercise restorative and regenerative practices. And also, very important, would be transparency and traceability. So what has essentially taken place? An extensive amount of resources have been placed in research and development globally. And we have drilled down to each product line, and we are identifying and eliminating embodied carbons. This is the sum of all energy produced when we produce any goods and service. It's as if the product itself is embodied with a certain carbon content. Along with that, we have employed a circular economy approach. It is aimed at eliminating waste and the continual use of resources. It employs a system of reuse, sharing, repair, remanufacturing. It is a closed loop system, minimizing the use of precious resources and reducing carbon emissions. Sustainability is built in at design. We look at minimal use of natural resources, alternative forms of energy. We're constantly evaluating our logistics program as a global company, and we look at every product and where they will be used and what they'll be used for. And the end of life cycle is extremely scrutinized. We aim to recycle rather than to put that product or that waste in a landfill. We always talk about environmental quality, and there are certain terms and definitions that I'm sure all of you or some of you are familiar with, but let's just review them. You all have heard of VOCs, volatile organic compounds. These are the ingredients that are found in a variety of building materials, including paint, that can be harmful. Emissions. These are VOCs or gases that evaporate into the atmosphere while paint dries. And then there's off-gassing. It's the release of airborne gases and chemicals from a variety of construction materials, carpeting, artificial wood. Most things that are manufactured emit some sort of gas. And we need to be aware of this when we are specifying for a cleaner environment and improving indoor air quality. So what are the benefits of these practices? For the owner, operating costs are reduced, there are shorter payback periods, and increased asset value. For the environment, which is pretty obvious, it's reduced carbon emissions, utilizing alternative forms of energy, and minimizing waste. Also, many of you are familiar with the acronym LEAD. It stands for Leadership in Energy and Environmental Design. I am not sure how many countries in the Caribbean actually have LEED projects. I know I've been to a few places like Trinidad where there are 3 or 4 LEED buildings, and I'm not sure if there are any governments who are looking at these sorts of programs. But what I can tell you, in North America, because of LEED, 80 million tons of waste have been diverted from landfills. 80 million tons. For the community, we're improving indoor air quality. In the commercial sphere, it can reduce absenteeism and increase self-reported improvements in productivity. Improve quality of life for people by designing for resilience. For your firms, this is an opportunity to differentiate yourselves from the rest. To be able to identify quality products and manufacturers to go into your products that go into your projects. And then you can also align yourself with your clients' sustainability goals and their corporate social responsibilities. So now that we have looked at how we arrive at formulations and what we think about holistically, let's look at the technologies themselves. There are several coating technologies that actually passively do what they do or are active in the background without you even knowing. So we're going to look at the architectural and high performance coatings, terrazzo and resinous flooring, intumescent fireproofing, factory applied liquid coatings, and factory applied powder coatings. And lastly, fluid applied roofing and sealants. Technological advancements in architectural systems have led us to an exterior system that actually cleans itself when it rains. This means you have buildings looking cleaner and fresher for longer periods, maximizing or lengthening maintenance intervals, reducing costs, and also allowing for less use of harmful cleaners in the environment. We now have water-based urethanes that perform similar to their solvent-based cousins or brothers and sisters, but they are low in VOC. They are great in the area of color retention and performance, and they are extremely durable. And this is a water-based solution, or formula, pardon me. The next big challenge that we are currently addressing is removing APEOs and silicas from coating systems. Those of you who do not know what APEOs are, they're alkyl-phenyl ethacolates. They have been found to be harmful to human health and pose a threat to the environment. So we're working on substitutes for those additives and it's now the major goal globally in the industry. There are certain European countries now who are adopting the attitude that if your product has APEOs in it, you're not allowed to be specified. So that's the next big obstacle that we're facing and addressing fervently. We're also going into the realm of hybrid technologies. This is a space between architectural systems and heavy industrial. We now have systems that combine water-based, alkyd, and urethane technologies into a single component system that is low VOC and provides a durable finish. In other words, we could be in this room at this very moment, going through this conference, and we could be painting that section at the back of the room, and you would not be affected. And we also be lengthening the maintenance cycle for this space. So in the commercial realm, and when I say commercial realm, I'm speaking about commercial buildings, hospitality, healthcare, retail spaces. I will always guide my architects and designers and engineers to water-based formulation. I would only suggest hydrocarbon-based products if you are in a harsh, extreme environment. Bearing in mind that our goal is to be sustainable, to lengthen maintenance cycles, and to lower the VOC content in that space. And if we can do it, we will lower it to 0 VOC. Just a highlight at the bottom of this slide, there's also a hybrid system, a water-based catalyzed epoxy that is extremely durable. It is 2-component, but it does not have the properties of its hydrocarbon cousin or solvent base. And when we refer to solvent base in our industry, we refer to oil. As you all know, solvents could be oil-based or water-based. Little trivia here. By the time we reach the age of 70, how many years do you think we would have spent indoors? How many years? Especially in this time where we struggle to get outside. We have to actually work it into our schedules. I need to go outside for a few minutes or so. Go and exercise. 60 years. Studies have shown we would have spent 60 years indoors. So it's even more imperative that we focus on improving the indoor quality of our environments, indoor air quality, and what comes with designing indoor spaces. When you think of pollution, what do we think of? Perhaps factories belching smoke out into the atmosphere, refineries burning waste. But you would be amazed to know that sometimes concentrations of pollutants are higher indoors. So when we look at the internal space, we look at it in a holistic way. We look at the daylight quality, the quality of views that you can see from that space, lighting, total VOC content, not just in paint itself, but from the other materials in the room. There are documents available that can tell you what's in that carpeting, what's in that artificial wood, what's in that coating system that you're specifying. We look at low emitting materials in terms of VOCs and emissions. And of course, what we encourage is biophilic design. We must implement some part of nature in our internal spaces. Studies have shown that people are more productive, they feel more at home, it doesn't feel like drudgery going to the office. So, I spoke about systems that work passively in the background. We're going to take a little look at them now. Off-gassing. We have aldehydes and formaldehyde that comes from building materials. And some of them are well-known carcinogens. For this situation, there is an air purifying technology that when the molecule comes in contact with the paint film at the molecule structure or molecular structure, it is attacked and it dissipates as an inert gas, which is not harmful to us. How many of us step into a space, or you go to a hotel, and there's an odor in the room? You're turned off immediately. We're now also designing spaces that are multi-use facilities. You may have residents above, shopping below, you may have coffee shops, you may have other facilities that emit odors. So how do we address this? There's a coating that exists as well that deals with odor, and it's odor eliminating technology. Similar to air purifying technology, it attacks the odor molecule at a molecular level, and the smell dissipates. It is also very dependent on how much surface area is covered with the odor eliminating technology. In the Caribbean, we have to deal with humidity at very high levels. And mold and mildew is a challenge. So there is an antimicrobial technology that exists that inhibits the growth of mold and mildew on the painted surface. And we all know the effects of a space that has mold and mildew, respiratory issues. It can lead to other serious health issues as well. When you're looking for performance and longevity as well, durability, there is a water-based catalyzed epoxy that we spoke about before. As I said, it's durable, it's zero VOC, and being low VOC, sorry, did I say zero? If I said zero, I mean being low VOC, there's no smell or odor. In North America and Europe, people were having successful medical procedures, but succumbing to secondary infection. So in 2015, a product was formulated and registered with sanitizing technology. This means that when certain disease-causing bacteria comes into contact with this coating system, they are dispatched. And this product is used widely in healthcare facilities, gyms, and certain office spaces. We spoke briefly previously about self-cleaning technology, and I'm just going to reiterate that this has the ability to keep your high-rise buildings looking cleaner, fresher. It cleans itself when it rains or when it comes into contact with water. And it lengthens the maintenance cycle, providing cost savings for the owner. An interesting fact, I would say 10 to 15 years ago, we achieved the zero VOC or low VOC benchmark. Unfortunately, colorants that you use to achieve color lag behind by about 3 years. But I can say today that you can be provided with a true zero VOC formulation. We're going to look briefly at two projects. And this is a product that was specified and used on these projects. It's Proma 200 Zero VOC. It's a flagship product. It has third-party certification. It also has documentation to certify the claims in environmental product declarations. It's compliant with LEED, and it's Green Guard certified. So let's move on to the projects themselves. Perkins and Will was commissioned by the U.S. Green Building Council to refurbish and expand their head office in Washington, D.C. And they required a system that was zero VOC, antimicrobial, and durable. And this is where the product we mentioned just previously was specified. They also employed the circular philosophy of economical practices. I'm having a difficulty seeing that way, so I'm going to just turn to here. 95% of the original construction material were reused or diverted from landfills. 95%. 60% of the furniture and supplies were reused. They offered furniture to staff, donated items, and sold items at auction. And what is remarkable is that multiple offices were kept in place and intact to reduce demolition waste. Think to yourselves, is this something that you think about when you're designing and specifying? What can we save? How can we impact the planet? How can we save the planet? Similarly, in Puerto Rico, our cousins in the Caribbean, we have the Coliseo de Puerto Rico, where indoor air quality was of utmost importance. And they too needed a system that was zero VOC, durable, and antimicrobial. And as an added bonus, for the steel structure, they employed DTM acrylic, which is low VOC in emissions. And sometimes you may think, well, that is outdoors, but believe it or not, exterior coatings are now becoming a focus, and they are low VOC formulations available. So we're moving on to terrazzo. We're all familiar with terrazzo. We grew up around terrazzo. We grew up knowing the formulation of concrete with chips in it and grinding. Well, today, there's new technology in a resinous terrazzo system where you can select whatever color you need or prefer for the base, and then you have a myriad of choices when it comes to the actual chips and inlays. Many of us traveled through airports in the Caribbean, Florida. If you go to Aruba, you will see resinous terrazzo. If you go to Puerto Rico, you will see resinous terrazzo. If you travel through Miami and you look down on the floor in Miami, you will see resinous terrazzo with inlays, and we marvel over it. Well, that technology is available to us in the Caribbean. And one of the attributes of this technology is that it improves indoor air quality. Gases cannot pass through it. Gases like radon that affects us internally in the internal space. And it's also supported by third-party certification and documentation. Now, if terrazzo is not an option, there are also other thin film systems for the interior space that may not perform as long or be as durable, but have the same attributes. A terrazzo flooring system will probably outlast the structure itself. And maintenance is quite easy to perform. Another form of terrazzo and resinous flooring is comfort flooring. That is being widely used in the healthcare environment, anywhere where people are on their feet for long periods. It reduces fatigue. It is slip resistance. It also has noise reduction properties. And it's durable. And best of all, it is formulated using plant-based oils. Just to let you know what sort of technology is in that comfort flooring, there are microscopic beads of rubber that is in the coating system itself. So it flexes. You won't feel it, but your legs will. We all need to protect our assets, whether it is your home or commercial structures. And this is geared towards commercial structures. Now, you can protect your steel work for 1 to 3 hours to allow anyone from in that facility, if, God forbid, there's a fire, to get out of the facility. The beauty about this system is that you can also highlight in your design the steel structure itself. You don't need to cover the structure. The system looks like paint. And during the break, when you're walking around looking at the booth, have a simulation of it there for you to see. Shop application is recommended for various reasons. You can decrease overspray, and it allows for consistent application in the process. And most of the times, when you do a shop application, you can come in on time and under budget, rather than doing it in the field. Factory applied liquid coatings. We're all familiar with cladding. That's what we call it here. Globally, it's known as coil and extrusion. We also recommend factory application for this process as well. Actually, I don't think it can be done in any other way. Through the process of factory application, you're able to control and reduce VOC output. This system, this method of application also enhances consistency in the color and durability. So we're speaking about coatings for coil and extrusion. There are companies, we are one of them, who work with coil and extrusion manufacturers to provide coatings. So if you would like your building, the exterior of your building, to be cladded with a coil or extrusion element, you have the opportunity to customize your color. and you have a myriad of colors, and there's also textures available. There's a building in New York City where coil and extrusion was employed for the exterior of the structure. And it depends on the angle that you look at the building, the color changes. And that is possible through coil and extrusion. It's a very durable system, and it has a very long and lengthy lifespan. When you're looking for that defined finish on metal, windows, doors, handrails, you have the option of factory-applied powder coatings. And what is interesting now is that certain colorants are being produced using recycled plastic bottles. I believe 16 plastic bottles produces, I think, a pound of powder. And we expect this trend to continue into the future. Fluid-applied roof systems. Many of you know of silicone systems that are widely used on concrete slab roofs. They prevent waste from ending up in a landfill. You don't have to tear the roof off to apply these systems. The proper preparation has to be done, and these systems can go over what is existing, and it extends the life of the building itself. It also reduces energy costs because there's a certain amount of reflectivity in the product. Another thing that I have faced in my travels, people tend to mix up the difference between a caulk and a sealant. Caulks and sealants are very, very different. Caulks fills gaps in an internal environment, molding a bathtub, a sink. A sealant, however, does what it says, it seals. And there's greater elasticity and elongation in a sealant. So if there's any movement at all, it will flex, it will move. And it will allow for energy efficiency. You won't lose the cool air space. It won't allow water seepage to take place or allow drafts from outside to come in. So bear that in mind. We looked at various products. We looked at their attributes. Now, how do we tackle material selection? How do we navigate the many documents that are out there? And what do you need to look for in this process? The other thing that you have to consider in the selection of a manufacturer or a supplier, where are they going to meet you on your road to success with a project? Are they going to provide a product and then step back? Are they going to be with you from inception to completion and align themselves with your goals and your client's goals? So, transparency cannot be stated more. EPDs and HPDs, these are environmental product declarations and health product declarations. We look at certification. Are they self-declared versus third-party verification? And lastly, traceability. Could you advance a little more? There's one more. Right. Oh, there are two more. Yes. Right. So there are platforms that you can visit as well to get this documentation that you require. And then there is, what is your supplier sustainability program? Does it align with what you believe, what you need for your project? Transparency. Now more than ever, people are more informed, they are more in touch with what is happening in their environment, and rightly so. And we must be as transparent and open as we move forward. It is imperative. You know, showing transparency isn't necessarily about proving eco-friendliness. It's about being honest and open with your customers. If you make a mistake, if something happens, admit it and address the issue. Statistics show that 86% of end users view transparency in business as more important than ever before. 86% of clients said, even after a bad experience, and I'm sure we can identify with this, this is a North American survey, but this rings true to us as well. 86% of clients that said that even after a bad experience, if the business has a good history of transparency, they would be more likely to give it a second chance. 89% said they think the business would regain their trust if it has been completely transparent about their mistake. And this goes hand in hand. We are equally transparent in our industry. We would hope that our client or the person who is implementing the project is equally transparent with us. I can't tell you how many times a project is finished and something happens that is evident, and you know what? The paint is the problem. And we do not have a record of how it was applied or who did it. We are here to work together with you all to address any issues that you may face. Terminologies. I'm not sure how many of us are familiar with this. The LAC, which is the life cycle assessment. It is the assessment of a product's impact on the planet. It is contained in the EPD, which is the Environmental Product Declaration. And the Environmental Product Declaration, along with the LCA, sorry, I said LAC. This LCA gives you the global warming potential of a product. So what's in the documentation? After we look at the circular economy in our manufacturing and looking at CO2 emissions, the Environmental Product Declaration, through the LCA results, gives you the global warming potential of a product. Eutrophication, we are experiencing that right here in the Caribbean with the sargassum seaweed. Waterways are being enriched beyond the capacity, and plant life is blooming out of control. It lists the potential for ozone depletion, smog, and acidification. So this is a very important document when you're looking at a sustainable project, the products that are going into that project. So, health product declaration, could you reduce the screen? Yes. So, along the lines of transparency, we look at material ingredients. There's the EPD, which is the Environmental Product Declaration, that states the impact on the planet, the global warming potential, potential, and it's based on the LCA. The HPD, which is a health product declaration, shows the impact on human health of this product. It reports what's in the product, the ingredients. And it's based on chemical assessments. What benefits your clients more? You and your clients more? Is it self-declared declarations or third-party certification or third-party verified? I will always guide my customers and my clients to third-party verification because it's the highest form of credibility and trust, and it removes the risk of any liability from you or manufacturer and supplier. It may be a bit more costly, but it is not more costly to you. It is the supplier or manufacturer's responsibility to bear that cost. Traceability. As the citizens of the globe become more informed and more in touch with what's happening, people want to know what's in the product or the air or the food that they drink, and they have the right to know. Providing traceability or accounting for where your ingredients are coming from have yielded certain benefits for companies. Improved efficiency, resilience, and competitiveness. And this is because we are able to select where our resources, our material ingredients, with the countries that they come from, do not practice modern slavery or child labor. So we're going as deep as that to be able to compete globally. And I must tell you, every country, let's not just say the Caribbean, rely on foreign investment. Every country. And when those investors come to our shores in the Caribbean, they are going to expect that we can produce this documentation because this is what they're accustomed to. Last project spotlight, Grace Farms. We just spoke about transparency and traceability. You could not be a part of this project if you could not tell them where the ingredients of your product was coming from. It had to be documented. They had to see that there is no human slavery, modern slavery. There is no child labor involved in harvesting the resources for your product. And I must say many countries are adopting this philosophy as well. And you know, previously I failed to mention when we spoke about systems that are low VOC or zero VOC, especially zero VOC. It may not be publicized, but right here in the Caribbean, in Barbados, there are structures, commercial structures, that the specification stipulated zero VOC as the baseline level for interior coatings. So it is a reality, and it is something that we as a collective community of manufacturers and suppliers have to provide moving forward. So for us, how are we navigating this evolving, ever-changing frontier? You saw in the video before I started, we have 3 pillars. That's the environmental footprint, doing our part for the planet, the product blueprint, driving sustainability from inception, and the social imprint, elevating a culture of safety and belonging and community. And this is also, and at the middle of that is our core governance and ethics, making sure what we say we're going to do happens and delivering on our promises. So, just touching on our sustainability pillars, we employ the circular economy philosophy, using innovation to develop and elevate our products to the end user. We also use innovations to reduce our environmental footprint, to reduce carbon emissions, energy consumption, and waste generation, while expanding our prospects for renewable energy. As we speak now, we are doing extensive work to harvest solar energy, and in some instances, we're employing wind energy as well, and other regenerative forms of electricity. Our social imprint internally, we promote an atmosphere of safety, inclusion, and a diverse application of information from our employees and our customers. And then there's governance and ethics, as I said. Doing what we say we're going to do with the checks and balances and third-party audits as well. So we have some goals. By 2030, we would like to reduce greenhouse gas emissions by 30%, improve or increase renewable energy use by 50%, increase operational energy efficiency by 20%, and achieve waste reduction intensity of 20%. And I must tell you, we are on our way to achieving it, and we are hoping to achieve it before 2030. This is where the global coatings movement, or manufacturers who are globally positioned, this is the direction that they're heading to. It is more than just producing a gallon of paint. It has become more than that. So, high level, we build on the good at every step. Oops, sorry. Yeah. At a high level, building on the good, expanding the life of assets, supporting energy transition, furthering maintenance, manufacturing excellence, protecting what matters, and preserving freshness. Very high level look at our industry. On the ground, we focus on meeting our customer needs. Optimize material sourcing. We look intently at product manufacturing and distribution. Being a global entity, we have to look at our logistics and the carbon footprint that we have the potential to impact. As I said earlier, sustainability by design, it is built in at the point of design. It is considered, it is a part of the process, and it produces zero VOC formulations, low VOC formulations, durability that is allowing our customers, the buildings that we are in, to have longer maintenance cycles at a lower risk and at a lower cost to the building owner with fewer repaints. And then in promoting the circular economy, we're promoting reuse, repurposing, and we're even looking at undoing, reusing excess paint of our own in formulations. Spoke earlier about verifying these claims and substantiating what has been said. There are a number of platforms that you can go to. There is UL Spot, NSF International, Green Guard. But there's one place that you can go, it's called Ecomedes, where you can find all of these certifications. It's a platform that we have partnered with, and if you're looking for certifications along our product line offering, it is readily available to you. Another thing to look for when you're looking at a supplier or manufacturer are awards and accolades. This cannot be bought. You cannot influence this. It is awarded on merit. So look for sources like Forbes, the British Coating Federation, Newsweek, Fortune. This can help you identify who you want to associate with in your everyday work and your practices. So where do we end up? Right where we began, the mandate. And how many of us in this room are willing to accept the challenge of this mandate? That is the question. I could stand here before you all day and talk about solutions, talk about how it can create magic. But unless we, the people in this room, and our colleagues who are unfortunately not with us, accept this mandate, this process will happen every year. And think of, let's say, the Romans, who were brilliant in their architecture and design and engineering. If they had this ahead of them or in front of them, they might have said, "Quo vadis?" What's next? What's next is up to us, all of us. This cannot be achieved by one entity or any one person. It has to be a collective effort. We have to come together, share information, understand what your expectations are, what your client's expectations are. The Honorable Minister of Housing spoke about maintenance. It's not just Barbados. It's throughout the Caribbean. One thing I will ask you to do is when you engage your clients, ask them what is their expectation for maintenance of their facilities. That dictates a lot. What is put into that facility. So, as I said, the decision is ours. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much to our keynote speaker, Mr. Omar Mohammed, as he took us on a journey, as it were, giving you some background in terms of the travel of Sherwin-Williams Group, Sherwin-Williams Company, and of course, sharing with you some terms which will certainly be of good use to you: traceability and transparency, driving sustainability, developing a culture of safety and belonging, looking at governance and ethics, delivering on your promises, and environmental techniques. We thank you very much for your keynote address. Thank you very much. Thank you. Throughout the day, we will be, of course, acknowledging our partners, and I wish now to acknowledge the Sherwin-Williams Company, BRC West Indies Limited, Rentokil Initial Barbados, and Berger Paints. I draw your attention now to the presentation of our featured speaker and his presentation. Allow me to share some background information which will, of course, be ideally suited and will give you the comfort in knowing that our featured speaker is certainly one that can address the chosen topic. Our featured speaker is a leading personality in Barbados and the wider Caribbean region business environment and has amassed over 35 years' experience in the construction, real estate development, and manufacturing industries. He's the co-founder and executive chairman of Preconco Limited, a Barbadian precast manufacturing company formed in 1991. And he's also the host of other businesses across the real estate development, construction, manufacturing, hospitality, finance, aviation, and distribution sectors. Our featured speaker has also successfully turned his passion for motorsport into a highly successful business, establishing the leading motor racing circuit in the Caribbean, which has hosted numerous high-profile international events. Now, under his leadership, his diverse group of companies has become synonymous with some of the finest buildings and projects and has also made an undeniable contribution to the beauty of the Caribbean landscape. The Maloney Group of companies places strong emphasis on corporate performance and efficiency of operations and has invested significantly in its people, its technologies, and its processes. Some of the manufacturing operations are considered the most technically advanced in the Western Hemisphere, which is a testament to the commitment to providing quality products and service, and in recognition of his personal commitment to sustainability and efficiency in all that he and the Maloney Group engage, our featured speaker, ladies and gentlemen, has personally led a variety of group-wide initiatives intended to minimize its carbon footprint and is looking to the renewable and sustainable energy sector in terms of both its operations and opportunities into which the group can expand. Surely you're probably saying, wow, that's a lot. But I poised it in that way so that you can understand the emphasis and the essence of our next presenter, our featured speaker, leading personality in Barbados and the wider Caribbean region. Ladies and gentlemen, join with me as I acknowledge Mark Maloney.
Thank you, Master of Ceremonies. Position is the art of gunnery. Good morning, distinguished honorable ministers Jordan, Gibbs, husbands who apparently has left us early, Permanent Secretary McCaskey, Deputy Permanent Secretary Dowridge, Dr. Albert Best, my good friend, I think. You know, you have to say that in public to make sure it's true. All other protocols observed. Esteemed guests, colleagues, partners, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. It is a pleasure to be invited here today for the opening of the Barbados Annual Construction and Design Conference. First, let me thank the Technical and Vocational Education and Training Council and the Lifelong Learning Unit for asking me to be here to present. This gathering is more than a conference. It is a call to action, a call for us to rethink, to innovate, and to build in ways that truly transform the lives of our people and the communities in which we live. Look around this room. We have the visionaries, the engineers, the architects, the craftsmen, the entrepreneurs, and the policymakers. Together we hold in our hands the power to shape not just buildings, but the future of Barbados and the Caribbean as we would like to know it. And this is why this year's theme, Integrating Technology into Quality Construction, is so powerful and so urgent. The state of our industry, the world is changing faster than ever before. Technology is rewriting the rules of how we communicate, how we move, how we learn, and most importantly, how we build. Here in Barbados and across the Caribbean, construction is at the center of our development story. Housing, infrastructure, tourism. Every new project is more than concrete and steel. It's jobs, opportunity, and national pride. But let us be honest. Too often, construction here still struggles with inefficiency, with delays, with high costs, and with standards that sometimes fall short of our own, far less the benchmark set globally. Delays and cost overruns have become the norm instead of the exception in the sector. Yet everyone here knows it doesn't need to be this way. Technology has given us the tools to build faster, safer, greener, and smarter than ever before. Precast and system build transformation. At the forefront of this revolution is precast concrete, and may I say so myself. And system build technologies. There are many others of them. That's just one of them. It just happens to be the one that I am most familiar with. Let me put it simply though. System build is no longer an option. It's a new standard. By manufacturing in controlled environments, we guarantee quality, accelerate timelines, reduce risk, and deliver consistency. Think about what it means for Barbados and the wider Caribbean. Families in need of housing can receive the keys to their homes in months rather than years. Schools and hospitals can be built faster, stronger, and to global standards. Investors gain confidence knowing our infrastructure is world-class and dependable. Imagine for a moment a young Barbadian family, keys in hand, walking into a brand new hurricane and earthquake resilient home that was built in half the time of traditional construction. That is not a dream. That is what precast and other technologies, building systems make possible. This is not theory. This is proven. Across the region and across the world, these technologies have delivered on time and on budget where traditional builds have failed. We cannot afford to build the old way anymore or to do things the old way. The role of artificial intelligence is upon us. Now let's talk about next frontier, artificial intelligence. All is not science fiction. It is already here, reshaping how we design, plan, and deliver projects. Imagine this. Before a shovel hits the ground, AI simulates the entire project. It predicts risks, it calculates the most efficient use of materials, it forecasts maintenance needs years in advance. Imagine Barbados in 2030. Every major project digitally rehearsed before it is built. No more surprises, no more waste. Investors, contractors, and governments all working from the same transparent playbook. This is how the world AI opens up to us, but only if we have the courage to adopt it. I am surrounded by a lot of people who are a lot younger and smarter than I am. I try to keep up. but I have had to embrace AI in so many ways in our manufacturing plants, legal, finance, operations, design, and our construction sites. It has not replaced us, but has repositioned us for repurposing ourselves to utilize our skills in ways that bring us best results, both on a micro and macro level of our businesses. Sustainability and responsibility. For certain, progress without responsibility is not progress at all, and I'm sure that that resonates with all of us. Every structure we build has environmental footprint, and in a small island developing state like ours, sustainability is not a luxury. It is a condition of our survival. That is why quality construction must also mean sustainable construction. We need cooling efficient building envelopes that reduce energy demand. We need renewable energy integrated into every project. We need low carbon materials, from blended cements to next generation insulation systems. Let me ask you all, when our children and grandchildren look back at the choices we made in 2025, will they thank us for building smarter, greener, longer lasting communities? Or will they ask why we settled for less? The answer lies in what we commit to today. The most important to me is the human factor. But let me emphasize this. Technology is not the hero of this story. People are. It is the skilled precaster, the engineer, the artisans, the QS, the site manager, the architect, the policymaker, all of you in this room who bring technology to life. We must invest in training academies. We must raise standards and create cultures of accountability where excellence is not an aspiration, but an expectation. Because at the end of the day, it is people who transform blueprints into buildings and buildings into communities. One of the most important topics for me, which I think a great amount of time needs to be spent on globally, is leadership, structure, and behavior. For people to truly thrive, leadership must be integral to their growth and development. Strong leadership is not about command. It's about building people, cultivating discipline, and creating the structures that allow every team member to succeed. Excellence does not happen by accident. It happens when leaders are intentional, when they put in place clear procedures, strong systems, and a culture of accountability. When leaders see both the macro and the micro, the big picture vision and the small daily details, and align their organizations to deliver both. Above all, leadership must put behavior at the forefront. Technical skill without the right attitude is a risk. But whenever behavior, discipline, and accountability are embedded in our culture, teams don't just execute projects, they elevate standards. This is the kind of leadership we must demand and demonstrate. Leaders who inspire, who guide, who hold themselves and their people accountable, and who understand that success of every project rests not only on technology and tools, but on people working with structure, discipline, and most of all, the right mindset. Call to action. So as we gather here for the next 3 days, I want to challenge everyone. Do not treat this conference as just another event. Treat it as a turning point. Commit to adapting and adopting technologies and techniques as the new standard. Commit to integrating AI into your practices. Commit to sustainability not as an afterthought, but as a foundation. Commit to leadership that builds people, culture, and discipline that are true. Cornerstones of progress. Imagine if every single person in this room walked away with just one commitment to innovate. What would Barbados look like 5 years from now? 10 years? I believe we would not just catch up with the global practice, we would lead it. Barbados and the Caribbean may be small in size, but we can be a beacon showing the world how to build communities that are strong, sustainable, and future ready. I want to thank the organization once again for creating this platform for knowledge, collaboration, and inspiration. I wish each of you successful and transformation conference. And I look forward to the innovations, partnership, and solutions that will emerge from our discussions here. Together, let us not just build buildings, let us build futures. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mark Maloney, Executive Chairman of the Maloney Group. And I trust that you've taken note of the call to action so that every individual present, we can certainly take innovation to the next level. Expression of thanks must also be given to our featured speakers and, of course, to Minister Gibbs as he brought the sectoral remarks. It is at this point in time now that we will get a chance to stretch our legs, as it were. Yours is now the opportunity to peruse, to view, and to engage the presenters through the official construction open day. Now you would note that there are some booths on the inside of the hall, and over by the car park area, there are also a number of booths. So all are invited to view them, and you'll be guided by Chairman Dr. Bess, as well as Dario. That's the instruction that was given to me, right? And once the tour is completed, you can then, of course, refresh yourselves. Lunch will be provided, and that will take us into the full lunch session, and then we will resume our afternoon's presentation. Thank you very much, everyone.